Coming up, we'll visit a place where old technology is embraced, where old discarded computers have taken on a new purpose, and look behind the scenes at a collection so complete, it's where Hollywood comes looking for props. This is the Rhode Island Computer Museum, and little if anything here is new. In the last 100 years, few things have had greater impact on our daily lives than computers. They have transformed communication, education, healthcare, entertainment, and commerce. They've made us more efficient, more productive, and given us new ways to play games. And you can explore all of that right here.
We're one of the few museums, computer museums, that actually has operational machines. Most of them put them behind glass cases. We think people need to interact with them because it's a rather unique experience to actually operate a 50 or 60-year-old computer.
I truly believe it is for everyone, people who are looking to the past, people who are looking to the future, people who frankly don't even like the digital age, who they can still go and be interested, inspired, and take sort of what they know about what's around us. You can't avoid it. You may not like it, but you can't avoid it. So learn about it and then take it into your life and see where you want to go with it.
Mostly what you'll see here is the evolution of technology, from the very big and very slow machines to the super fast microcomputers.
We like to talk about this as there's a tree trunk and then there's all these branches. And the tree trunk is all these old computers that they start out. And they've branched into all the microcomputers and other things that people have, other electronic products.
For the history buffs, they may see old computers that either they will remember or that have sort of historic significance in, honestly, we live in a digital age. Everything we touch is computers now. See where it all started. For people who just, are roughly my age, there are the computer games. The key thing about the Rhode Island Computer Museum is, as much as possible, our computers work. So you're not just looking at stuff and you're not looking at it behind glass, you're playing with it and interacting with it. So you can play, original Frogger or Atari or all those things we thought we'd lost. So it's very interactive and it's great for adults to connect with their kids. You'd be amazed at the memories that come up as a child is starting to play with an Atari, and their parent can be like, I remember the Christmas I got this, and here, let me show you a trick. So that's really fun as well.
While today we think of this type of technology emerging mostly from Silicon Valley in California, a lot of these early machines were developed in the Northeast.
A lot of these computers were outgrowth from MIT and Harvard, where they had a lot of money for research. And it started really in the 40s, really blossomed in the 50s. And you ended up with a lot of computer companies that were all spin-offs of spin-offs of spin-offs that were all in this area, because this is where the universities were and this is where all the tech was. Eventually, the money and the bright people ended up moving to California, to Silicon Valley, and all of the tech that used to be in this area ended up moving to the Silicon Valley. It's really unfortunate that there's virtually nothing left for the computer industry in this area anymore. But there are, Massachusetts was a huge area for computer research. Perkin-Elmer was in Connecticut. There were a few companies in Rhode Island that were making peripherals for computers, including one of my next door neighbors. But this was, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, this was just booming for the computer industry here.
There are examples of very early computers here, machines that help us to understand how the technology works at a very basic level.
Computers, being electrical instruments, basically have only two options. They can be on or they can be off, like any electrical switch. And in one of the programs we do, we talk about essentially the most simple electrical equipment we have, like a flashlight, that can either be on or off. And that's actually binary. It's two states. It's either on, which for computer binary would be a 1, or it's off, 0. And that's how they can communicate. Now, if you only have 1 in one of our classes, we actually have kids try to communicate with each other using only the flashlight on-off as code. And you can do some really simple things, like you could answer a yes-no question maybe, but not a whole lot more than that. But then, if you start to add more flashlights together, you could have more options. Both off, option 1, 1 on, 1 off, this one, both on, or a different on-off. So already that's you've gone from like 2 options on-off to 4 options. And then if you have a whole bunch of these stacked in a row, again, it increases significantly. And that's sort of what these computers are showing, that this computer has in the front these toggle switches. They can be on or off. And then you have a whole bunch of them together so that you have more options. Later, it was actually hooked up to this keyboard that gave you a whole different set of options. But you can see how it was originally done. And this one as well was actually 8-bit. No, not that that's necessarily going to make a lot of sense, but it just means that you have 3 options of on, off, on, and so on. And that was how this computer was originally programmed.
The museum exhibits a series of desktop computers running on different platforms and different operating systems. The 1980s and 1990s are well represented here, but you'll also find much older and much larger machines.
This computer is a PDP 1145. It was installed in the fire department in Brooklyn, and it was the interface between the red fire pull boxes that you'd find in a building or on a telephone pole on a street and the 911 system. So it would get a digital message. Each of the pull boxes has a serial number associated with it, and that gets sent to the PDP-11, and it would look up the pull box number and get the address, and then upload the address into the 911 system. And that machine was actually active during 9/11. So this is a smaller version of the one that was installed in Brooklyn. It's also a PDP-11, so the same family. These are disk drives here and diskette drives on it. This particular machine has multiple boards in it that are about 18 inches by a foot that make up the CPU, and you can actually point to chips on there and say, this is doing the math, this is moving data, this is controlling the cycles in the machine. And on a modern machine, if you're running Windows or something, you can't stop the machine from running without just restarting it. They don't tolerate that. On these machines, you can actually stop them and run a single instruction at a time using the control panel that's on it. So you can use it for debugging, but you can also use it for explaining to somebody exactly what the machine is doing.
There is a space at the museum dedicated to video games that visitors can try their skills at, and a classroom where students can learn to assemble from small kits. There's even a maker space where the more ambitious visitors can build from scratch. Beyond the exhibit space, they also maintain a cavernous warehouse where you can find almost any kind of computer or data processor.
This is one of our treasures that was donated to us. And it's an analog computer, which means that it has tubes in it. So if you look in the back of this, you'll find all kinds of tubes, and those are vacuum tubes. A vacuum tube is just a big switch. It's just another form of a switch. But these switches heat up quite a bit, and when they heat up, they burn out. This is a different way of looking at technology and computers that are normal. So you have a bunch of switches here, but mainly what we're talking about is the types of waveform that you have. So to not get into too much details, people probably remember what a sine wave is. So if you looked on the screen, you'd have a sine wave. On other computers, on digital computers, they're square waves, so they go up and down like this. So this computer allows us to do things like study spring action. So if you had a car or a suspension system, you could study how the spring would work on a car in the suspension system. So that's why this one's kind of unique. And plus that, it has really cool names on it. So dead zone. And I think that this part of it, first order electronics, I think those things, first order lag, is really interesting. And of course, the movie companies come and love things like this.
For production companies looking to recreate a period in time or building a science fiction set, this collection has been invaluable.
One of the things that we are very proud of is all the movies that we've had the pieces of equipment come in, such as Mad Men, Maniac, Halt and Catch Fire, King Kong Skull Island for some reason, and then this one was Discovery. We also are in the show Severance, and Severance is new, and also Fallout. So we're very happy about that. What happens is the set designers will come here, and if I'm very lucky, I'll get them to walk through the warehouse. And once they walk through the warehouse, they'll say, I want that, I want that, I want that, and we'll rent all these pieces to them. Sometimes it's good. The pieces come back clean as they leave dirty. Other times, sometimes it's a little rough on some of the pieces. So if you have computer terminals or monitors, sometimes they'll break pieces of plastic. This is old plastic. So we usually don't rent anything that's very valuable, but we rent things that we have duplicates of. I'm sitting at the control panel for our Data General console that came from Harvard University. We got a call from Harvard University and they said they were getting rid of their CAT scan machine and would we like their computers that controlled it? And we said, certainly. So we hopped in our truck and we went up there, and when we got there, they were all out in little white bunny suits with Geiger counters saying, oh, this piece is too hot, you can't have this piece, but you can have this one. And so you see here the console, and we're very proud of this console that we have, and it's been in a lot of movies. So one of the movies was a Robert Redford movie, and I just so unfortunate that I didn't get him to sign this console, but it was called Discovery, and it was filmed in Newport, Rhode Island. So Discovery was a science fiction show, and they just loved this console, but to get this console out of the warehouse was difficult for them. And to get it into the mansion that they filmed in Newport was even more difficult. But we're very happy to say that if you look at the movie, you'll see our piece being presently displayed.
From the motion picture industry to a hands-on interactive museum, everyone here is committed to preserving computer science with an eye on inspiring the next generation.